Welcome to the Wednesday, July 24th, 6 p.m. Select Board meeting. I'm going to get started even though our town manager executive assistant is preparing some motions for later in the meeting, but we can get going and hopefully those will be in time and it'll be seamless. And if not, I'm confident Ed will be able to wing it for us.
Yep.
That's right.
We'll handle it.
I don't have any announcements from the chair today, so I will open it up to citizens open forum, where if you wish to speak before us, feel free to come up to the mic for the purpose of the camera, tell us your name, and you've got a couple of minutes to share whatever you need to. Okay, seeing none, let's move into the consent agenda. If you'd read that for me.
Please sit your wall, sir. Consent agenda. Romana Stendari requests use of Lilac Park on August 25th, 2 to 5 p.m. as a rain date for an event approved at the May 29th meeting of the Lenox Board and Select Board. Original request is included in the packet. Second item is Benford Hall Association, Inc. is requesting a one-day wine and malt license for Thursday, August 1st, 3 to 8 p.m. at Benford Hall. And all the paperwork is in order for that. Next, we have an appointment of Jackie McNinch to the Affordable Housing Trust. And then lastly, we have an appointment of Melissa Falkowski as an alternate to the Berkshire Health Group. I have no holds if you want to speak on any time.
Well, I'm always appreciative of people that volunteer their time for town committees, even in alternate positions, and I think that needs to be said whenever people do. Otherwise,
yeah, and this Jackie's a banker, and we need a banker on there. It's a perfect fit.
It's been great. Jackie's been on the trust before, and she was a very valuable member, and it will be wonderful to have her back.
Agreed. And for those that don't know Melissa, she's with the school department and a big part of our health network here. So it's a perfect fit for that.
Yep.
That's what she does.
Very qualified for that.
Yes.
We want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to present or to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep. So moving on to general business, our first item for discussion is that Trinity Solar LLC is requesting permission to solicit leads through door-to-door lead generation, the activities to support sales of their various energy projects.
I am going to speak to that a little bit. I'm a little leery of us getting involved in having people go door to door. I mean, I think if maybe we put a time limit on it during the day, between certain hours, because I think we've had these requests in the past and we've declined. Right. Honestly.
We have a no-knock policy?
You have a no-knock policy? Okay, well, there you go.
I'm quite sure that we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Because you try to punch years ago, it's your stuff. I think you used to try to take calls out there, to.
And also one more thing, he had to be this, that Trinity Solar submitted an incomplete application. So,
Okay.
Should we save them the hassle of applying again?
yeah. I think that's a good idea. I mean, the chief of police has always been against this. We've always been against it. We've never given one as far as I believe. Last week we just had break-ins in town, and I think people get nervous with that.
Yeah.
Then I would move to deny the application.
Second.
Yeah, always.
Okay, any more discussion?
Well, one other thing, I appreciate the fact that we came to each other that use as opposed to just go in there. That at least knows how much we need to spend this position to get the guy left to ask to everybody stop me with us for that. What if you like for it? Yeah, I discussed that. These ultimate thanks to the opportunity, business stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember precisely when we last discussed this, but I do remember hearing from the chief that it was highly unpopular.
I was true.
Yeah. Well, all in favor of the motion we have?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the next point. We have a request to transfer license for Bianco's Limousine and Livery Service doing business as Bianco's Limousine to Berkshire Limo LLC. Is there anyone here that would like to present on that?
Yeah, just to clarify, I do have a business license here from Lenox. My LLC is Berkshire Limo, but I did buy the assets of the Echoes Limousine on 44 Mountain Pittsfield Road, and I am going to continue to use that.
Use the mic and identify yourself. It's just
My name is Roger Kohler. I live in Sandusfield, Massachusetts, and I've purchased the assets of Bianco's Limousine here in Lenox. And I would like to keep the name. I have a DBA from Lenox. The LLC is called Berkshire Limo, but I'm keeping the Bianco's Limousine as my DBA. And since we are in Lenox, Massachusetts, I did want to transfer over or apply for since almost everything's going to be the same, the employees, the vehicles, the location, Ms. Garner suggested that I just do a transfer of the previous limousine license into my LLC.
Yep.
Seems good.
as long as Deanna said it was all okay.
Yeah.
No, it seems like a pretty basic, simple thing.
Yeah, and Deanna, I know you were on top of this, so it sounds fine to me.
Too.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a
Any
motion.
questions for motions? No. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of limousine and taxi license to Bianco's Livery Service, doing business as Bianco's Limousine, to Berkshire Limo LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Of
Thank you.
course. Thank you with that.
Yes.
Sorry for the scrolling, folks. It's paper saving, but it does mean I got to go up and down. So next up, we have a liquor license amendment, and the request is to change for a change of manager for LH Manager Northeast LLC, doing business as Lighthouse Berkshires. Please come up and state your name and let us know what you're doing.
How's it going, everybody?
Good.
The name is Alex Chevalier. I'm the new general manager and director of cultural programming for Lifehouse Berkshires, and essentially the go-to person for any needs or anything needed on site. Previously, Evan Bailey was a point of contact, but he was in corporate, and this was pre the hotel kind of getting underway. So essentially, it's just me taking ownership of whatever's happening in the property. But I'm a good guy, so.
And certainly friendly. Great.
Yes, thank you. Hospitality, pick them up.
That's good. How's everything going up there?
It's going great.
Yeah?
It's going great. People seem to be having a good time. Bunch of fun people coming in from Boston, New York, Connecticut, kind of right there in the middle of that triangle. Bunch of happy people getting married.
Great. That's what we like.
Yes. Yes.
And, they're coming in there to spend a weekend or eat, have a good time. But yeah, everyone seems really happy with the product, and it's only getting better and more popular. Neighbors like us, so that's good. We're doing something right.
Yeah, you seem to have been good neighbors to the community, and we're happy for your success there.
Yeah.
Other questions or concerns? Mr. Ray?
Done with me.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of manager of an all-alcoholic hotel license held by Northeast LLC, located at 194 Pittsfield Road, Lenox, DBA Lifehouse Berkshires, to Alex Chevalier.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Continued success.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Alex? The next item under general business, which appears on our agenda, we are going to table until a future meeting. We were going to talk about the host community agreement with Krishna Lenox, but I guess they've had an extension in time, so we're going to basically follow that. I don't think anything substantive is changing, but we're not going to discuss it tonight.
Yeah.
So let's move on to
It's
that.
good.
So next, we have a request from downstairs to, it's regarding a vote to reduce the number of hours for in-person early voting. So, Smitty, do you have anything on that, or do you want to just
Yeah, I
go
tried
through
to
it?
talk to the town clerk, and this advice that the team made was the 4th of December, so they would have a special meeting prior to that, so she's recommending it today. She thought originally the registrars had the approval authority, it's the Board of Selectmen. So she's going to start on August 24th, full day of Saturday for early. She could have done 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, but didn't feel it was necessary to pay people extra money to come in here. So the vote needed to be happening 20 days prior to the vote. So she just thought 11 to 1 would be reasonable, be posted appropriately. And if anybody who is coming in early could actually still vote absentee. But the early voting is kind of a similar definition, but she's very comfortable with that and didn't see a need to have somebody there all day long for a few people. And she's got it down pretty good. And she's gone through this drill before, so that's where her recommendation is.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I agree. I think there's still plenty of time to get in there in person.
Any other discussion?
No more with me.
Okay, I think we need a motion on that.
So I'll make a motion to approve town clerk's recommendations for early in-person voting hours Friday, August 26th through August 30, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
December.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. But, thank you, Ed. So next, we're going to talk about the general process for screening and finding the new town manager. I'd like to start with an update from the chair of the town manager screening committee, and then we'll talk about any proposed changes, and then move on from there.
Hi, everybody. Channing Gibson, 141 Cliffwood, and Chair of the Lenox Town Manager Screening Committee. I also have all the other members of the committee here, Barry Pollard, Vince Lanning, Susan Wolf, and Mary Jo Peretti, all dedicated public servants. And we have met twice. The first meeting, we created a letter that you all have seen. The second meeting, we did some easy elimination of candidates who didn't meet the qualifications for the job. And we're here to answer any questions you might have about the letter we sent. We feel strongly that we have a town that deserves the very best town manager it can have, especially following Chris's tenure. And we think that the candidates we have don't represent a wide enough group. We'd like to see more candidates, which is why we sent the letter making recommendations for changes to the Town Manager Act, which we feel is limiting. And we serve at your pleasure, and we will do whatever you ask of us. We strongly recommend changing the Town Manager Act to alter the residency requirement, and also to take a look at the education requirements, which we think eliminate people who might have experience but don't have the education that is listed in the Town Manager Act. Town Manager Act, by the way, is woefully out of date. I think we've known that for a long time. The Charter Review Committee recommended changes to it quite some time ago. That needs to be dealt with, but for this job, it's really about the residency requirement. It's about the education. And Smitty, did you find out if the posting listed the salary?
It did not.
It did not, okay. So I don't know where we've all had a number in our heads, but I think we need to indicate flexibility on the numbers. We requested in that letter that you hold a special town meeting sooner rather than later to change the act. As we know, the requirements for changing the Town Manager Act are first a town meeting to change the act, and eventually a legislative session to deal with it. It seems, based on what Smitty has told me and what the conventional wisdom is, that if the town doesn't do anything unreasonable in changing the act, it's pro forma. It's a rubber stamp by the legislature. So I think we can post having changed the act at town meeting, repost the job listing, and be able to give a reasonable assurance to anybody who is a candidate that the legislature is going to rubber stamp this at some point. So it will give us, I think, more tools if we can have you guys do that, and then we go forward. We advance the timeline by, approximately, I guess, a month or so. But if we have a town meeting soon, and town meeting approves the changes that you put before them, then we can go right out again you can go right out again with a job posting, and we can have a 2 to 3 week deadline for responses. Our committee, I think, can go through those responses fairly quickly and deliver to you guys the candidates that you need to interview. I can see this whole thing getting done before the holidays are here, certainly probably even before November 1st. I would hope anyway. It's possible, depending upon the responses and the interview times when people can come in and actually be interviewed in person. So that's where we are. Does anybody have anything to add to that that's from my committee? Okay.
Channing, thank you. I would like to express appreciation for your committee, for everyone for volunteering and pouring through a lot of resumes and responses, and also for the hard work that you've done in making that letter recommendation to the select board. So I'm going to try to outline how I see this going, and Smitty or Channing, feel free to jump in.
Or anybody else.
Of course. So essentially, we've got the screening committee. The Town Act is outdated, and we've heard from the screening committee that some elements of it are probably limiting potential candidates that might otherwise be interested. The things I think about specifically are people that might be in adjoining Berkshire County towns and, see the Lenox residency requirement as an obstacle when they already own homes somewhere here in Berkshire County.
Yeah, and if I could jump in on that, Leo, excuse me, but we did a bit of research, Vince did, to look at town manager jobs that are out in the country. And some were comparative, some weren't in terms of population and all that. But what we saw was most of the communities had housing costs that were significantly lower than less, getting back to the salary that you'll have to deal with eventually.
Yes. So, and in particular, I mean, as Mary Jo will clearly be able to verify, I mean, we have very low housing stock, and it's not particularly affordable. So it just seems like acting according to an act that's been long overdue for, revisions, does not seem in the best interest of finding a qualified applicant. Not that maybe one of those applicants isn't in the remaining applicants who you've kept on, but I think being able to cast a broader net with some reductions in the requirements is a good idea. So it's up to us as a select board first to discuss and agree with recommendations from the screening committee, and then, assuming that we do, we will then move into a discussion about getting a special town meeting to reword specific sections of the Town Manager Act. And that town meeting will very much be only to do that. We want to do that quickly so that the advertisement and everything can go out, and so that we're signaling to potential applicants that town means it. It's not just that we talked about it. And then the third component will be, the approval by the legislature. And I think the sooner we get that done through town meeting, the sooner Smitty can bring it before the legislature this fall and hopefully have it stamped by the end of the year, as opposed to waiting for the reset and the talking about it next year.
And I could just quickly add, I think doing it in August increases our on-ramp to get it through the legislature. When we talk about fall, October, November town meeting, that would have really been limited on the potential success. And then would have been filed in January, and then it couldn't clearly in 6 or 7 more months because of the new legislative seat. So whatever doesn't get completed by December 31st has to start all over again in January. So I think this on-ramp of an August meeting would increase our chances of beating this on the governor's desk before the end of the year.
So just out of curiosity, is there an idea of what the timeline is once it goes before the state legislature, how long before that gets passed? I only ask because I'm wondering if we post immediately, assuming it's going to get passed right away, is there any concern that it could take 6-8 weeks and that may negatively impact some applicants?
No, I hope not, and I think Jamie said it perfectly, that I think once you get the validation of the town meeting, then I think that should be part of the posting, in my opinion, the kind of the validation of the confirmation. That's just an endorsement from the Board of Selectmen, but a town meeting said this. I've never seen in my 22 years there, a home rule petition get denied by the legislature, and this is just minor tweaks, and this is not a dramatic overhaul in the act. This is really addressing a residency requirement, which is more of a housekeeping item. It'll take weeks, may take a few months, but any applicant will look at that and say, hey, the town behind this, I've never seen a legislature say no to that. I do not anticipate any issue whatsoever.
If we hired someone and they did say no, what would the ramifications of that be?
If we hire someone,
And the legislature said, actually, no, you can't change that.
well, I mean, we've had that conversation with the town council as well, and I think the selectmen have probably more authority than we realize, but that'll be a horrible scenario that it didn't happen in the legislature. And like I said, I've never seen that happen before.
We're talking less than a few sentences of word changes.
Yeah.
And it'd be enormously unlikely for it not to get blessed. I think the key is for us to come to agreement tonight, put it before town. I want to clarify to everybody, I hope I already did, that when we talk about this special town meeting, this is not the traditional fall town meeting where we have the other elements. This is just to address the language of the act regarding town manager selection.
Yes.
And there'll probably be a town meeting in November, as we normally do. Question. Highway Manager Joe.
Neil, before you go to the special town meeting,
Lawyer Jim wants to have my place and introduce yourself.
Mary Jo Peretti, 194 Main Street. Before you go to the special town meeting, you might want to review what the Charter Review Committee made for suggestions, because we did have a Charter Review Committee
5 years ago.
5 years ago that never got approved. So I don't recall it was on the committee, but I don't recall what actually we changed, if anything, about it, but you might want to look at whatever our report said.
I don't think that,
We have-
I don't think that the residency requirement itself was changed, or the educational requirements, so these would be changes to the revisions that were made in that.
Right.
And then we would make that a wholesale revision.
Because the original revisions were never ratified.
Right, right.
If I could just quickly add, Mr. Chairman, I think we did look at that very comprehensively a year ago, and I think this laser focus for a special town meeting in the middle of the summer needs to be a little bit more narrow than what the committee looked
Right.
at 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's for another conversation, another discussion that would also require legislation, but I think we really wanted to stay focused on the search for the next town manager and have it more of a laser focus on that. The other things that the subcommittee addressed 5 years ago have no bearing at all.
Right.
On the search for the next town manager.
No, but I'm just saying, as long as you're doing it with a special town meeting and they're just minor, if they're minor details,
Yeah.
you might want to just wrap it all up at once.
I see the expediency in that, but I'm concerned about diluting this focus on getting this done ASAP, because I think that comprehensive review might be revisited, and we could give ourselves enough time to fully address all the elements for, say, November. And
This would certainly push us to bring that to the fore again, evaluate all the changes that were made to the agreement, but to get these two particular items just hammered out in this very short town meeting that we'd be targeting for August, I think it's very important to our search.
And if I could say, Mr. Chairman, and there may be other things upon further review that even 5 years ago
Sure.
could be changed. So I think taking the time to do that was smart. Focus on what we really need to do to help out the search screening committee, and that will be in much better stead.
we're trying to accelerate this quickly here.
Yeah.
And August is not a highly populous time for folks here in town, so I don't want to get too much on an agenda that feels like it could be a small meeting and we're just kind of, passing things. Things always come up, and, given the almost certainty that we'll have a November meeting, I think that's the better place to put other things unrelated to town manager, just to not give people the feeling of, hey, we're firing all this stuff in.
And this is a 5-page document that we would be reviewing. So we would want to give people plenty of time to actually look at it before a November town meeting to just see all the changes that have been made. And I mean, granted, most of them are happy to glad and, selectmen to select board and things like that. But these are two very important components of the special act that will hopefully improve the pool of applicants that we're looking at.
You also have posting requirements for this meeting, right? So these have to, the warrant, articles on the warrant have to get approved very quickly.
Yes. But we're going to hope to do that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if there's not more from you folks, I think,
If I could just add one more thing, Mr. Chair. We did mention asking the board for the flexibility to consider a search company at some point. I don't think any of us feel that if I disagree with me, step up, that's necessary now. But if for some reason this process doesn't yield the candidates we need, it's something we might have to consider at some point. We don't have to make that decision tonight, but just want to lay that in because it was in our letter.
so if I could, tell me if this is an accurate summary. I think what we want to talk about tonight is 4 things that are elements of your letter. 2 of them, well, I'll go through them. Residency requirement, that requires ratification at town meeting and then going before the legislature, as does education requirements. The other 2 components that were touched on their compensation and the possible use of a search firm, we can discuss that tonight here. That's not necessary for town meeting. So why don't we talk about residency requirements in general, if anyone has.
Sure. I know that we talked about, not committing a candidate to living in the town of Lenox. I don't know if we want to broaden that to a specific diameter region within or surrounding Lenox, or if we want to say within Berkshire County, because Berkshire, if somebody clearly lived over in New York State, but we do want somebody familiar with Mass general laws, so I would hope that we're going to be getting a Mass resident. So, we have those considerations to make, but I think if we just say, someone familiar with Mass general laws within,
Well, I think we should use the Berkshire County,
okay, designation,
because it gets fuzzy with that 15-mile thing or
Right.
whatever.
okay.
I think Berkshire
that's a good
County
idea.
accomplishes what we think is the target here, which is, and I'm seeing a lot of nods from the screening committee. So
There you go. That says it all right there.
Yeah.
You guys are the ones you had to listen to.
And we have draft language
That's why
to
we
come
did
that
the
we'll
job.
look at, but I think what we're going to do is put before town meeting and then the legislature revisions to the act that open it to Berkshire County residency.
I agree.
It sounds good.
Anybody else? Does that sound good to you folks? You can say it from there.
Nothing.
The only question I would have is, do you want to say Berkshire County within a year?
Oh, this is all within a year.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, that seems very reasonable.
Good with that?
Yep.
Okay, in terms of education requirements, there's some specific requirements now in the act. Smitty, what is the phrase Governor Healy has recently used?
Skills-based experience.
Right. So I'm aware of people out there in Berkshire County now serving this role well for their towns who would not meet our educational requirements. And to me, I feel that skills-based experience trumps having a specific diploma if the person seems like they're qualified and if the screening committee likes that person. So I think the act should also address that.
I would agree. I think that most private businesses in all different manners are adopting that style of hiring now too, and loosening their educational requirements.
And if I could interject, Mr. Chairman, I mean, the governor herself has made that declaration because of the workforce shortages we have across the commonwealth. The President of the United States did the same thing. So, you may have this piece of paper hanging on the wall, but there's other attributes that come to a job that the governor's made that declaration to say, let's look at the skill-based needs on top of it, or in addition to both talk.
Yeah, if we cast a wide net, then you can let the screening committee winnow it down, and then you're still going to have a chance to to examine all of the candidates that we bring before you. So, it's we like having latitude.
And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
We don't want people to not apply because of some outdated requirements of the Act. I think you've experienced the implications of the old language in the Act in the search you've conducted so far, so we agree. I'm seeing nods all
Yes,
around.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we all know this is the right thing.
This is the right way to go, yeah.
Yeah.
You've had your hand up for a while. Go ahead, Sonia.
Thank you. Sonia Bykowski, 225 Main Street. Hi, everybody. Hey, Smitty. Good, thanks. So I have a couple of questions. One is, how many applications did you receive?
Total of 44.
44? Wow, 44.
And one was withdrawn, so 43 all.
Okay. I would have liked to have sat in on those meetings. I didn't see notifications about them.
Just so they were posted.
Okay, I'm on the town email list. I didn't receive any. I would have liked to have been there, just saying. So when you want to, and I think it's great that you want to open up the residents to Berkshire County within a year. I just want to point out there, and Mary Beth knows as well, there are a lot of people, service workers, who also can't afford to live here, and they're not getting $125 or whatever $1,000 a year salary. So let's just keep working on getting housing for everyone.
As
The lowering the educational requirement, I'm a little concerned in some ways about that. This is a job where you're handling, I think I read $35 million a year in town finances. And I mean, apparently the town manager does a lot more than I knew before I read the act. It's almost like they're the accountant, the CEO, the CFO. They do an awful lot. So what do you want the minimum degree to be?
Well, what we're talking about is having skills-based experience. So probably the person or people that the screening committee will bring before us will have years of experience in town, in municipal finance, municipal supervision, municipal personnel and governance. That's what we'd be looking for. And clearly the screening committee is going to be screening all the candidates and only bringing the most qualified.
And many of those
Forward.
things are still left in
Yeah.
the act.
Yeah,
It's already.
I understand skills-based and
Yeah.
what that means. But surely there will also be some kind of degree
There are other
required.
things in the town act that explain how they need courses in administration, finance, business, and you have 3 years of experience in this business.
So are we talking about no degree requirement at all? Not even like the basic, what is it, associates or bachelors? I don't know what the lowest is.
I don't
but-
think we're drilling it down to that level of specifics. What we're trying to allow is the screening committee to be able to cast a wider net and let them do their job, which is to go through those candidates and then present who they feel would be qualified to us. So there's a couple of steps, the screening committee and the select board, that someone would have to pass. And so, you're going to be able to see us deliberate. I don't think I want to try to drill down any more specifics than are necessary here, other than to de-restrict some things by making these changes to the act.
Okay, would these be the only changes you're talking about? Because you would be omitting the great Smitty Pignatelli, who has served in public office in the last 3 years, if you didn't also change that requirement.
I'm not interested, number one.
Really?
No. But I just, if I could interject, Mr. Chairman, and I personally have solicited people from all over the Commonwealth that I've run into, and the residency issue was a big issue. And that there's a current town administrator down east that is one of the finest town managers that I've ever dealt with, who does not have a degree in finance. But this person has been there for several years, doing extremely well. I think if that person was ever interested in coming out here, some of the wording that we currently have precludes that person from being to apply. So I think we want to have a wider net, be more inclusive. And the fact is, we were kind of spoiled with the previous town manager being here for 10 years. I would love to see some stability here and not have the town management of Lenox become a revolving door. So people getting a couple of years and then living out with something bigger better.
So you think, the 3-year requirement seems like a lot to me from public office to taking a position like this. You wouldn't you think that's good to leave that at 3 years while you're making changes? Yes?
I think that's why these folks appointed a very well-versed screening committee to address all of those things.
Okay. All right. And,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of going quite a long ways here on this. Do you have something specific to this recommendation of these two items that we want to change with the act?
you said 3, I think, right? 3 items.
Two,
Education, location, residency, okay. No, I think that answers my questions. I will just say one other thing. The last time we had an August, or at least a summer town meeting, 46 people showed up. And I would like to see more than 46 people show up at a town meeting to make such a big decision. I mean, our town managers, it's a huge thing. It's, the person that guides the entire town. So I'll just say that as well. Thank you, Neil.
well, I think you heard me say that I don't want to put other things on the agenda for this meeting because it's coming quickly. And time is of the essence in terms of the screening committee. This is not, we hope as many people will be there as possible, but this is to simply reduce some requirements so that the net can be cast. It's not changing what the screening committee will do, nor the select board in terms of their ultimate decision. Those things will take their due time, but
Right. Yeah. Talk about just not
Understood.
showing up. And I don't know what a quorum is, but
Just
you're thinking that we do have to touch on. How much is it? What's 5? Oh, that's it.
we probably wish you could pack the room, but realistically, this has to get done.
all right. So I hear agreement amongst us in terms of the residency and education requirements. Do we want to proceed with the two other elements that were mentioned in the letter before we get to this special town meeting briefly? There's no specific mention of salary in the advertisement?
No, we're probably not. You could have it be negotiable, fixed on qualifications.
I think if you added some element of negotiable based on qualifications, maybe some people who might be making more than our previous town manager did would be back in the hunt, if you will.
Do you think that would help your effort?
Can I ask the board, the screening committee, do you want to write the ad, or do you want to be part of that? I think it should be part of it. I think we'd like your input in it.
That would be great.
We'd love a chance to review it.
This is what we hired you guys for.
Yeah, we'd love a chance to review it. We'll have to figure out how to do that in terms of having a meeting. And Lindsay, I assume, Lindsay Broom, our HR person, will be involved in helping to write that. So, yeah.
I think it should be yours, to do it with Lindsay and all.
Okay, well,
And you've got a couple weeks to do it.
yeah.
We were working on a draft today. We got to show.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of approvals will that require?
I mean, I think if they decide.
I defer to them.
Yeah, if you
it's not
decide that
much.
it's got everything in it that you think is germane to opening the pool up, and, you have a discussion,
This is just an ad. It's not a
Yeah.
contract or anything.
Right.
It's just an ad.
What, but you guys want a chance to review it? You people want a chance to review it at your
I don't think
next
that-
meeting, or?
I want to make this as easy as possible and give you folks the opportunity to do what you
like to say, pick your top managers.
As long as we have input from Lindsay.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Well, let's have Lindsay and Smitty be involved to the
We're
extent.
we're happy to take that on.
To the
absolutely.
extent that we can help. I don't want to put it all on you.
Yeah.
We want to help you, but I don't want to force our ideas onto you.
Jared Weber would help if they wanted.
Well, the other thing we would deal with is putting into the listing when the deadline is for submissions. So that's something we all have to decide. I don't know how all of you feel about it, but if you're talking about the town meeting when
2 weeks.
to the 14th or so, 13th to 14th.
13th was the
13th, then the job listing, the posting could go out the next day, I presume.
Yep.
Assuming town meeting approves these changes.
If you all could get together and have a meeting ahead of time and do that work.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I think we can give you, this is not a vote or a motion, but I think, can I get confirmation from my board here that we agree to the reduction or expansion of the residency requirement to within 1 year of Berkshire County? And can we agree that the education will be skills-based without mandatory requirements so that you have that freedom for starting your draft?
All right.
And I think you also feel free to put in whatever language you think is appropriate regarding compensation to be commensurate with experience or negotiable or something like that. That's all. I think you've got our blessing for that.
Okay. This isn't a posted meeting for us, so we can't deliberate on it now, but we'll do all the things you want us to do. March to your train.
If I could say that's one thought, I'm not sure if the residency requirement needs to be in the job advertisements, because that's what's going to be the town meetings about. That's going to be the act. So I don't think you need to worry about that in the advertisement, because anybody applying is going to refer to the special act with the confirmation of the August 13th tells you about.
Meaning the act will either be linked as a hyperlink, or else it will be attached in some way to the job listing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's give them discretion, because
Oh, absolutely.
I think we've heard that people have had some trouble with that. So I'd like it to be more out there that it's clear that we agreed to change that.
But they had trouble with the act, not the advertisement.
Right.
Which tells you,
We also heard.
This goes, if you're going to talk, you have to step up and now give your name and it weeks right. You ain't
Here.
But
Susan Wolf, Shaler Hill Road, Lenoxdale. I think we also heard from Lindsay that people were having trouble doing the link, so they couldn't always access the act. The other advertisement referred to the act. So we perhaps would want to just put the pertinent requirements, still refer to it, but make sure if something was a block before to people we want to see, that we hit them over the head with it.
I agree with Susan. A few words can make it real clear. Records get
down. We can move the screen.
Vince?
Vince Lanning, 21 Walker Street. So I did a search of all the town manager jobs posted nationally over all the different sites, municipal and commercial and all that. Not a single posting had a link to an act. So I think our goal would be to post a job description that's representative of what most people would typically see. And we'd refer to it and have access to it, but I think it should be consistent with what we see, nationally.
Okay. Good advice, Simon. Thanks for that. That's why we're thankful to have you folks do it, and we want to give you the latitude to do it as you most want to. We're here to agree with the recommendations in your letter, which I think we have. So we've talked about residency, education, which requires changes to the act. We've talked about wording for salary flexibility, however you choose to write that. And then to your final point, Shan, I think we're open-minded on a search firm if necessary, but I'm hopeful, optimistic that these other three changes will draw some people out that hadn't previously put their hat in the right.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you folks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So if we're good with that, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to look at the posting of and the language of a warrant article for a special town meeting.
There's some that was up there being in, so you should have gotten that earlier. That's cheaper.
Yes. I
have a copy here.
Oh, if you could just hand it over to me, that'd be terrific. Does everybody have this? Or?
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, the colors. Nothing new.
And that's about it.
So essentially, this is a warrant article that is how do we want to do this? It's a lot to read for everybody. That's a lot of legalese language from MGL.
I think my recommendation that reading this over, unless you want to read the whole thing over right now, it needs a little bit of work. I talked to acting town manager Pignatelli about this, and I'd like to work on that tomorrow. We need to have this posted by Friday, but certainly before anything like this gets posted, it's going to go to our attorneys.
Yes.
For confirmation. So if we could maybe not worry too much about the language of that right now, but actually decide on a date for a town meeting.
Let's do that, because I agree with you. I had shared my own thoughts on simplifying the language to more clearly accomplish what we're looking for. But then, of course, we need KP Law's blessing that it actually accomplishes that, with all the appropriate references to sections and chapters of general law.
You can't go to town meeting unless it's legal.
Correct. So let's table discussion of the actual act modifications, because Ed is having a meeting with Smitty and KP Law and Deanna tomorrow. And let's talk about, do we agree on having a special town meeting on August 13th? And Deanna, when would we have to post that, I think?
Ideally, we would like to do that Friday, but I think our actual deadline would be Monday. Final deadline.
Well, we could hammer this out tomorrow morning.
I think
get it to all the board members, beforehand.
Believe something out. I think we can get that done in the morning. We can get that.
Take a crack at Friday, and then if anything goes wrong, we have until Monday to do it.
That's a great idea.
All right, do we need any motions on that?
We do need a motion, I think, for town meeting.
Yep.
So I'd like to move to schedule a special town meeting to amend Chapter 155 and act providing for a town manager in the town of Lenox on Tuesday, August 13th in the Town Hall Auditorium located at 6 Walker Street, Lenox, Mass.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Keep our time.
That would be good.
Yeah, we didn't.
6 or 7.
We should make it.
I spoke to the town moderator, he's good that day, so whatever time, 6, 6:30, 7, he's very flexible. He's on board.
It doesn't make much difference to me. To me either.
I'm flexible with the wood.
Pick a number, Dave.
7? Seven's usually when they are.
Let's stick with what we most commonly do.
Yeah, we usually do 7.
7
All right,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Let's note that modification to your motion to include 7 PM was...
Can we do it just like that?
Okay, go ahead and give me a
I'm
motion.
going to do the whole motion all
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, two.
We move to schedule a special town meeting to amend Chapter 155 and act providing for a town manager in the town of Lenox on Tuesday, August 13th at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Auditorium located at 6 Walker Street, Lenox.
Second.
Okay. We've got the language right? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Super.
That's just good.
I think we are through with what we have. What is this?
What is this continued to Friday, August 26th?
But Deanna and I were thinking that if we're going to post it on Friday, we're going to have to have you come back to sign and endorse the article.
So we can.
So we say,
This.
I mean, continue this till Friday morning or whatever you want to do, but
Sometime, it's the right thing to do that.
otherwise we'll have to post a different meeting, which is going to put us to Monday.
So the Friday is the 26th, so that was trying to keep us on target for posting the Fridays.
Yeah.
You'd like to see.
I won't be here for
Oh, every.
Oh, it's my birthday Friday.
You're not supposed to say that.
Do we need all 5 of us, or can 4 of us do
We
it?
just need a quorum.
Well, yeah, I'll be here.
I'll be
I'll be
here.
here.
I could stop by early.
Yeah.
And if, I could retroactively sign it on Monday. Back.
And that would still be within the window, so I believe that's.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 is fine. So we'll post a meeting, or we'll continue it till 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
That's Friday.
That's good. So that needs a motion, I guess, a motion to continue to Friday, July 26th at 9 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. minutes of this meeting has been continued to Friday morning so that we can sign
It's orange, but it's
the warrant.
California.
And with that, is this the accurate date, August 7th, for our next regular meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so this board will next meet on August 7th, and, well, we will next convene on Friday the 26th for signature of the town meeting warrant, and then our next regular meeting will be August 7th. Anybody have anything else, new business or otherwise? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.